consumer. Did anyone research or do any research about this, or has any understanding on this matter in terms of new media? New media. Yes, so fine.
Good morning, everyone. I did some research on new media, and I should say that new media are the communication technologies that enable interaction between users as well as the interaction between the users and the content. You're able to see the content and still interact with it. And how do you interact? You can reply, you can send a comment, you can toss your opinion. And then I should say, apparently, new media is just like the internet. Social media, podcasts, blogs, online news portals. And then the major key characteristics is that new media is digital. It is interactive, and it is also globally networked to a point that if I post something, I'm in Uganda, someone else will reply from Malawi, someone else will reply from the US. That is how it is globally networked. And then it is virtual because it's more of internet. Then I should say the new news consumers, I should say, apparently almost everyone is a consumer. But the highest percentage of the consumers are the young people. They are the youth, not the elderly. Yes, the elderly really consume, they really consume, but to this point are the young ones that go so much into it. They want to know what is happening in this place, what is happening in this area, and they want to know who replied who, what comment did they send, and what was the opinion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Salfine. That's very good research and context you've provided. I see Winnie has said new media thinking revolves around how digital technology and the internet have transformed communication, content creation, and audience engagement. Thank you, Winnie. I think in addition, new news consumers often shaped by digital technology and social media have distinct characteristics and habits compared to traditional audience. Yes. Any other? Do we have any more context anyone wants to provide, or any further research that? Yes, Kemal.
So in thinking about new media, it's helpful to understand that a lot of the content is generated by who we would think of as the viewers or the audience. So there's a lot of user generated content, so that the audience is not just consuming but also producing. And a lot of what you would call new media companies, which are like internet social media companies, have pivoted to allow people to easily create and share content, so that the audience has become a crucial part of the new media landscape.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you very much. That's a very good observation and point. We note with new media, the technology and the tools are designed for a lot of engagement, participation. So one good trait actually of new media as a journalist today is how you enable your content for it to generate a lot of engagement. Are you going? That can even come with calls to action, maybe asking people to comment. But you even as a content creator today, as a person publishing content, you need to be very intentional with how much engagement you are getting and how you respond to people actively when they share content as well. Yes, any other point in regards to new media thinking? Yes, Catherine.
Apparently, new media involves real-time experiences and virality, like updates, daily updates of what's going on in society today.
Yes, daily updates and even real time. Okay, today, as we know, you can go live on different platforms, and people are able to to consume and access content that is happening real time. Gone are the days whereby, okay, it's still there, but today, instead, you're seeing a lot of media entities or things that are happening live. Those days you'd have to go back, get the footage, and prepare a news bulletin out of it. But now you can go live at a conference because the technology allows for people to access things in real time. Thank you. Any other point? Yes, Gertrude?
Me, according to what is new news consumer, I first explain new media is any media from newspaper, article, and blogs to music and podcasts that are delivered digitally. What makes the news? Information needs to be interesting or unique. No one would spend time reading it. Like, information needs to be interesting, yeah. Like here we look about the audience. Yes. So, impact could refer to the number of people affected or the magnitude of a given event. Timeliness relates to how recent the event is. Thank you.
Thank you, Gertrude. But I think I've realized some of the points. I can tell that you are reading maybe directly either from the internet or whatever AI tool that you use. So it's important when you get these points, you're able to explain them well, okay? And even I didn't quite get when you said about news, you are saying timeliness. It did not come out so clearly. So please, I need you to understand the points as well. When you get the points from whatever, wherever you get them from, don't just read them. You need to be able to contextualize them so that you're able to explain them to people properly. Yes, Fortunate?
I'm going to talk about the characteristics of a new news consumer. The first one, they actively participate. That is through comments, shares. For example, if someone posts something on their status, people screenshot, share. On X, people will retweet and do what? All these things, these are the characteristics of new news consumers. Then they have diverse preferences. Different consumers have different content types they would like to consume. For example, I may want content in video, then another person may want audio, others may prefer text. So they have different tastes and preferences when it comes to the kind of content they want to consume, which is readily available. New media. Then they have a global perspective. So we shall have a topic we are discussing, but because of the new media, they have access to these different countries, to the global understanding of what we are talking about. So they'll bring different ideas depending on what they have been consuming and from which sources. Let me say we're talking about politics. Someone will be relating what is happening in Uganda to what is happening in the US, another to what is happening in Russia, because they have a global understanding of different things, which is thanks to the new media and its networking aspect. Then they are conscious of their privacy due to the there's a lot of data that's on the internet, that circulates in this media and everything. So since there is a lot of data, everyone is very conscious of how much they want to put out there. Personally, I have a limit to what I can post or what I want people to see. Yeah, so I will just come and then talk about something that I know will not cause me harm, my career harm, or my family in any way. So that is a way of keeping my stuff private, I'm conscious because I know if I post anything that is inappropriate, it will circulate in a matter of, I don't know, seconds, because people are very sharp. You post something, they've already spread it, I don't know, very fast. So new media consumers are very privacy conscious, and then they seek a lot of personalization, where everyone has the ability to develop their own brand and their content depending on how they vision it. Like for you can decide, this is the kind of content I want to produce, this is how I want my let me say website to look like, this is what I want to talk about. Like, you're given the liberty to design your things the way you want. There is no limit to, oh, just follow these are the procedures we have to use. No, you're given the liberty to do your own branding on your pages and everything. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fortunate. Those are very good points. Well researched and explained. I want to believe it's a very good observation of content consumers today. And even just to probe further from the different points I've mentioned, before you come in, Catherine, I'd like to know, based on that background of now you've understood how content is consumed today by people, as a content creator, is that mean for you? Based on how understood, because it's important as a person who publishes information today, you understand how content is being consumed today based on the different trends and characteristics that you've mentioned. So what does that mean for you today as a journalism and communications professional in terms of the content that you're going to publish based on those characteristics? Let's have a discussion on that. Yes, Fortunate, you want to go?
First of all, I will consider, as a journalist and communication student, I consider very much my audience and where I see myself in a few years, because at the end of the day, whatever you post or whatever you put out there and produce will be what you will go and use in case you're looking for employment or to get better opportunities. So if I am to post anything, first of all, it should be in line with my principles as a person that I believe in. There are things I decided I will not be able to post this, because it's not in line with the things I believe in and the way I was brought up personally. So there are things you just eliminate, and then there are things I said, yeah, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And then I also consider my target audience. So let me say, personally, I'm a mental health advocate. So I know that the content I'm producing is for disturbed people who are going through a lot. I mean, they're suffering and they need attention. They need to feel like someone is listening to them, someone is there for them. So my language and everything, the way I produce my content is going to be in a way that's comforting, first of all, a way that is reassuring and encouraging them to seek help, because they are my target audience. I may not come and make it hyped and what, because that's not what they're looking for. They're looking for comfort and what. So I will have to consider all those things, and then my resources as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Fortunate. Yes, Catherine, you want to contribute to that discussion?
Yes, I actually just wanted to give another point. New media thinking and new news consumption today revolves around skepticism and critical thinking. New media consumers prefer fact-checking information, especially if they get information from traditional news outlets. They prefer checking the internet to confirm if it's right. So most of them tend to refer to media platforms to check for reliable sources of that information from traditional media outlets. And then they tend to doubt information from traditional outlets. So in case someone gets information from, for example, the radio or newspapers, they tend to want to check, like, is it really true across the internet?
Okay, thank you. So yes, you raised a good point of fact checking. That's another critical aspect today of a new news consumer. First of all, even from the point of the information that you access, are you able to fact check it? But even whatever is being published today, media houses, journal communications professionals are very intentional about fact checking any information before they're able to publish it. So the point you mentioned that people doubt what is coming from traditional media, so let's say like television and radio. I think it cuts across the whole spectrum. People want to fact check information whether they're getting it from social media or even traditional media, and even you find that people trust actually more traditional media in terms of the content that comes from there because there's a level of gatekeeping usually. I'm not saying all of it is factual, but you'll find that most of the misinformation, disinformation is spread online on social media because there is no filter. No one is there to gatekeep. So a lot of people, anyone can share anything on X, on Instagram, but we see with TV goes through a delicate process of where there are editors, gatekeepers who first have to review something before it is put on broadcast. Okay, I'm not saying that there is no wrong information that can be published in newspapers or television, but at least there, the level of filtering is not as compared to new media, whereby on social media anyone can publish anything. So I hope you get where I'm coming from, Catherine. Great. Yes, Vivian.
Good morning. I wanted to add on this, like how new media has transformed or how it can enable me to make my storytelling or writing compelling. One, it can promote, like I have to make sure I use multimodal writing, like I have to incorporate text, images, video, and audios to enhance my storytelling. This requires what the balance between media formats, making my content more compelling and also making my audience engage like actively. And then I also want to add like I should create audience awareness, like I must consider the diverse audience preferences and behaviors, adapting to their styles and tone to suit various platforms. Like if I'm writing news for a specific like age group, like let's say the youth, there is a way I will have to write it or I'll have to bring it out. Another thing on this is also like is visual literacy, where I have to understand how to pair the text with the visuals effectively. It's oftenly I have to work like with designers to ensure like how best can I portray this, how best can I bring out this news, like in which kind of environment should I do this. So that was all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivian. Again, very good points you've raised there. I hope from what we're seeing that it's also important that you see why now today media houses or people are even now having content in various forms, okay, based on even the platforms. That's why you'll find that now there's content aligned for TikTok, okay, because of a high volume of people who prefer maybe to see things via video, then on X. So even that whole being able to be able to publish content in various forms on different platforms, because as we have seen, some people have new media characteristics of people with personal preferences. Some people prefer getting the information from through video on TikTok. So you need to be able to reach as many people as possible. Damian, I saw your hand up. You want to share?
Good morning. Vivian has mentioned my point, but I'll just have a supplementation somewhere. As a journalist of an increasingly globalized and technologically advanced world, I may probably use it every day to stay in touch with the audience, or even discovering and engaging in my interest. And above all, I may keep up with the news.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Moga? Yes, Moga, please go ahead and share what you...
Okay.
Moga?
That's right. Can I be heard? Okay, okay. I was saying what we're going to talk about new media thinking that helps the new news consumers. New media thinking, these are like basic skills that these new consumers need to navigate the new world. As in, because we are in a global world where we're using digital nowadays. So now, like these new consumers, these are guys who use TikTok, Instagram. So now I'll be like, this guy, the new news thinking has helped to easy spread information to themselves. Now, like, you're easy to understand that information is easily got from far places than traveling to like Iraq to understand there's war there happening, or you can travel to Russia, or you can find like in America there's still elections. So now it has helped these new consumers to get this information from other places. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay, yeah, today it's easy to access information on anything across the globe. Of course, with the internet, it provides access to global information. And that's why I was saying at that time, today, a journalist, you can publish about anything across the globe because you have access to information at the palm of your hands. Okay, you on your mobile phone, you can know what's happening right now in Czech Republic. Not going there, so it also broadens your perspective on the number of things that you can cover. That's why I was saying, whereas proximity is one good aspect of writing, whereby it's good to write about things within your confines, what's happening. But with new media today, whereby you know even your neighbor in class knows about something that is happening in the US. I've seen people today are very invested in the news about Didi's arrest. Like, you would think that the person is a politician in Uganda, but because of how social media is, the internet, people are getting real-time updates on things. As even people are more interested in things happening outside their country than here. So you have a range of perspective of issues that you can publish about and even get research on because of internet. Vivian saying it also encourages feedback-driven writing as content creators publish news in response. Yes, if you realize today a lot of content is created around things that are trending. Even traditional media picks from what is happening on these digital platforms. Most of the radio programs are said, you see them asking, if you notice, if you follow Lucky Mbabazi on X, she usually asks questions there. People reply, and then they can also take that conversation now to the radio station. And this is what we're saying, it's complementary to each other. Conversations that come off traditional media platforms can be more sustainable on digital platforms because people are able to give real-time comments there, feedback, and even discussions that happen on digital platforms can also come to traditional media platforms because, as you see, many topics that are trending online usually come and they're even discussed on television or radio and even newspapers. Yes, any other contributions? right. So thank you very much. I think we've had, from what we have shared, I think those have been very, very good. First of all, observations, context that you provided. Actually, literally the whole what I had prepared to teach today, we have discussed here, and what we're going to be looking at is just additions to help to further appreciate the concept. But from the discussion that we have had in the beginning of the class, you guys have literally brought out all the critical aspects of what we wanted to look at today in terms of new media thinking and the new news consumer today. And I want you to look at this whenever we're discussing these things, we're putting them into perspective. Be thinking now as a creator of content, as someone who's going to publish, how are you going to reach as many people as possible? Okay. You need to look at all these different aspects. You need to understand how people are accessing content today. Okay. That will help you further now tailor your content, how you're going to create it, and even where you're going to publish it so that it can reach people easily. Then Vivian is saying consciousness and clarity as new media consumers prefer shorter formats. Would you like to expand on this, Vivian? Yes, go ahead.
Conciseness and clarity in this, I mean, most new media consumers really don't like spending most of their time in reading news. So if you want to get more attention from them, you have to be very brief and clear in all that you're giving so that they can get it, even if in the first 5 minutes of your content, if they can get what you're really trying to bring out.
Yes, thank you. Catherine, what do you mean by brevity?
I was just trying to supplement on what Vivian was saying. It's like she's trying to mean by brevity in saying in referring to conciseness and light information. People don't prefer reading a lot of paragraphs of work. They prefer reading something simple and then they supplement, give their comments, like, share, and comment according to new media.
Okay. I understand where you're coming from, but when you said people don't, there's still some people who do, and it's important not to neglect that. There's some people who still read articles and all paragraphs, but we're saying, of course, I think even from the new statistics that come up, research, people today, as you have said, don't want to read as very long. So you can tailor your content if you have the opportunity to if you publish an article, can you have it in different content forms? Maybe let's say you summarize it in a video and maybe share it on TikTok for people who only want to access video, are also able to access that information in that way. So it's important to look at it from different perspectives, also knowing that that people also still would would like to read in detailed paragraphs of content of information. Yes, Catherine?
Sir, now what about brevity in this role? People would prefer, maybe if you want to talk about a specific topic, for example, I'll give an example of monkeypox crisis in Uganda. And now you put it in a way that you put it in according to statistics, like data and figures, and then you write a short or brief article about it and elaborate more using statistics and illustrations. I feel like people would prefer that to overwriting, and you share it to across different media, so whatever platforms. I feel like people would prefer that to the other format of writing where it's really huge. So that's what I meant by brevity, and I think that's what Vivian is trying to say by conciseness.
Yes, very true. But also, in addition to that, I totally go with you, Catherine, and also. But you see now today, now from what we have discussed, you're going to find that if it's like a media house or even like a journalist or anything, and you want to cover monkeypox, Okay, so you should be able to, first of all, you can have your article, which has the write-up, images, even those statistics as well. But then you can also generate a graphic, okay, which visually represents maybe how monkey's product is affecting. Then you can maybe to again share it on the different platforms. Then also you can have a video summarizing something about monkeypox. So it's important that yes, a graphic can be good with illustrations and everything, but if you also have the opportunity to generate and publish a detailed article, so that it can also be shared to people who may also prefer to access it. Remember, we said people have personal preferences, that people who still want to access different think pieces on content. Yes, Vivian?
I meant use of concise language and clear structures, not like very brief, but you just be clear so that people can easily get what you are trying to mean within like the early minutes of your content. Thank you.
Yes, it's very true. Being clear and concise is a very important aspect as well, because the more clear you are in your communication, in your information, people will tend to get what you're sharing better. Thank you. Any other? All right. So just to further complement what you guys have shared, I think very well. So again, we can summarize new media means of mass communication using digital technologies such as the internet and mobile gadgets, I think, which we have looked at here properly. Then, of course, examples of these new media platforms, we have websites and blogs, live audio and video stream, chat rooms, social media, virtual reality, emails. So all these are examples of new media where people are able to interact with information in the ways that you guys have been saying. People are able to give feedback, people are able to interact with the content, people are able to go live. Virtual reality, now these are emerging technologies. I'm sure you guys, I want to believe at least we have had an interface with virtual reality in some of these games, which offer a unique user experience of content. And you'll find that this is now where now people, I think we shall even have some sessions later on in the class where we shall be looking at how can we prepare immersive content, 360-degree videos, images, so that as journalism is also advancing, you're able to see how well you can package content with using these emerging technologies. So it's also important to understand the difference, some of the characteristics, the unique differences between traditional and new media platforms, so that it helps you. Of course, many of you have said it already, but we can look at it here again further. So in terms of linear versus non-linear, I remember when we were looking at multimedia storytelling, we said it's non-linear, whereby it doesn't follow any given structure. If you're publishing an article on your website, you can choose to begin with an image, then go to text, okay? Whereas with traditional, it follows a certain structure. If it's the news, you'll find that things come in a sequence. We have the bulletin, then the actual news. So there's a certain structure that is followed with traditional. Then interactivity. When we, of course, from what we've been saying, we're able to see that new media platforms offer that interactivity as compared to traditional, because you're able to give feedback in real time on a social media post. Okay, you're able to give comments, which is not the same for traditional. Then I think we already looked at and not or. When you are publishing, let's say multimedia story, you're having a video does not mean you shouldn't have an audio or even an image. One is not a substitute of the other. You can have all these different media elements within your article. Then broadcasting versus podcasting. With traditional, we look at broadcasting, where you are broadcasting one piece of information to people at the same time. Okay, whereas with new media, there's is what we call podcasting. The pod here stands for playable on demand. Okay, that means you're creating content for people to play on demand, meaning that the way you publish content, you should avail it for people to access it when they want to. Okay, because the consumer of today, you cannot mean to say that everyone is going to watch the news at 9 p.m. today. No, people are doing different things. People are driving. People are having all the sorts of. But are you making that information available for that person to access it when they are now maybe free? And that's why it's important. You see, today news bulletins can run on television, but they also upload it on YouTube. For people who may not have be able to access it at that point, they can always go to your YouTube channel and then watch what happened. And that's how you prepare your content today as a communications professional. People need to access the content when they want to, not when you believe that they are actually watching. I hope we get now the understanding. Content today should be prepared for people to access when they can, not when you think that they are accessing. Because in reality, right now there are shows that are going on that I'm sure that you're interested in, but because you have class, you can't watch them. But I'm sure that many of these platforms are putting these episodes on their YouTube channels or on their podcast platforms, so that you can now go and revisit later. Then multimedia, of course, today new media platforms are multimedia, where you're able to have on digital, where you're able to have videos, audios, text, just so that for comprehension of the content better. Then on-demand content. When I talk about on-demand content, again, it goes back to people. You need to avail content for people to demand when they want it. Okay, meaning that right now you have class, and then there's an episode that you want to watch. So what is of demand right now is your class, but you'll be able later to go to the YouTube channel of that and then be able to access that content because you're demanding it at that time. Okay, so you need and with this is the whole thinking that we're looking at. People access content when they can and when they want to, not when you think that they are accessing it at that particular time. Then there's also ease of access of content. Ease of access meaning you need to make it easy. In terms of ease, I mean you need to avail the content in ways that people can be able to access it easily. Okay, meaning that put it on platforms where people can access it. On let's say Facebook, Twitter, so that people do not go through a lot of trouble to your content. Then costs, of course, you'll find with new media, the costs of kind of, if you look at it from this perspective, those days you'd have to have let's say, buy a newspaper every day. If you didn't have a TV, maybe you would not access some content. But today, from your mobile phone and just data, you can read all the content, access all the content that find in newspapers, TV as well. So you can look at it from that perspective of costs as well. So any contributions in terms of or additions to this? Yes, Damian.
Okay. Yes, I'm just having a supplementary somewhere, sir. You are about the on-demand content, where we have said that people have access to information. According to Neil Ferricki, in 2003, it was a writer. He researched about how the internet makes it easier to access a wider range of information on practically easy topic, from everyday issues to academic research, where people can even find information online regardless of their location and often for free. Meaning new media is every available source that people can
informed about demographics. We're competing against thousands of apps and websites for the attention of our audience. So it's absolutely necessary for us to study how our users interact with our content, where they click, what parts they skip over what texts and images they linger. Online research and fact checking. We have faster access to information, but that also means that we can easily access false information. That is why verifying content and proper fact checking are absolutely vital. Oftentimes, false or misleading information comes from seemingly trustworthy sources. So when activists, celebrities, or politicians tweet statistics on the environment or crime rate or claim that a certain person said something, we have to go to the original source to find out whether the claims are true. Now, these are all important skills, but they only help us excel in our work as journalists if we pair them with basic journalistic principles like good research, first-class interview techniques, and good storytelling. As technology advances, it is our task as journalists to advance our competence to always be able to provide our users the best content.
All right, I hope the video was clear and the audio as well. So I would like to get your observations, any key takeaways from that video in regards to our discussion. Who would like to go first? What are your key takeaways? Yes, Moga?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, she was telling us how we as journalists, we must not think like the old school. We always think about how to captivate our consumers, like what you can do to the new group of people who are watching news nowadays. What can you spread to them, and what can you give them engaged, keep them engaged? I mean, that's what I believe. That she was saying that what you have to make all of your users, I mean, like your consumers, engaged in what you're serving them as journalists. So the information that you give have to be proper to the people you're serving them too.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Gertrude?
What I got from that video, know your users and interest. Like you have to make sure that you have interested them on something you are producing to them. Visuals, you have to make what you're producing visually, like let's say she gave an example of live reports. Yeah. How are you capturing that? Even on shoot and editing, like how are you getting your photo? Like make it clear. Then she also talked about proper fact checking. If they are choosing the person about something, and then you have to go to the original sources. Thank you.
Thank you, Gertrude. Yes, Catherine?
I think Gertrude has talked about what I wanted to say. The fact that fact checking is key. The seemingly trustworthy sources tend to be the misleading sources too. So we have to fact check and use the right fact checking tools. She also talked about we as journalists not relying so much on editing, but rather use the best angles while shooting our content. And then she also talked about like publishing of content across media channels. Like we should be well versed with how to publish content, create content using the different media channels, like for example TikTok, Twitter, and other media channels.
Yes, it's very important today to have good photography skills, video editing skills, so that as we have said, today a lot of users interested in visual content. So knowing how to take good photos videos is very key. Vivian, I saw your hand up. What's the point mentioned?
Kathy talked about what I wanted to say was more of emphasis on the design and how to effectively bring out your content, like how to capture the video, like on which angle. That is what I wanted to talk about, but she mentioned.
Okay, yes, Fortunate.
She talked about how we are competing with millions of websites, apps, and all these things. So we should be able to produce content that's more engaging. For example, if you can add features like emojis or whatsoever you feel is going to make, like, to bring out your point more and attract your audience, you should be able to put that in, because at the end of the day, there are very many people whom we are competing with. And also she said we should be able to learn these different skills, how to use all the most of the apps, because if we do not add those skills to our list, we're going to be left behind. So we should be able to adopt to these digital technologies and the ways of producing content, as well as adding our journalistic principles of verification and all those things, so that we can be on board.
Yes, very good observation there. It's important as we navigate these platforms published there, it's always important to keep in mind the basic journalistic principles of accuracy, fact checking, so that, yes, we use these tools and technology, but don't abandon your journalistic principles. Okay. Mariam, I think it says here, according to me, the video clearly explains that as journalists, we should improve our skills in a creative way using different platforms such as TikTok, Instagram, and so on. Yes. Any other key takeaways from the video? Okay, thank you. I think you've been able to really capture the key aspects of what was in that video. I'll share the link to it for anyone who wants to continue watching further. So again, just to emphasize, it has been shared. Okay, I see a comment from Fortunate. We should also be able to identify what parts of our content is ignored and make it better. Yes. So today, basing on analytics, you're able to know how your content is being accessed, how it's being used. So you can see which of your videos has been watched less, which of your content doesn't get less engagement, and see how can you improve it. Why did this post get few comments as compared to others? Okay, so it's important with new media thinking, with you're able to base how you how you better your content, and with real time, with real statistics that you're able to obtain. Yes, Damian.
Okay, Master. But you have gone so far, because I'd wanted it just to highlight what I've learned from the other video.
It's okay, you can still share.
Yeah, I've also learned that the online research and fact checking, that we can have faster access to information, but that cannot mean that they can easily access false information, and that's why that's why verifying content and proper fact checking are absolutely important.
Yes, thank you, Damian, for that supplement. So again, to add on to what we have said, key aspects in media thinking, okay, things shareability, the fact that you can now share your content on a multitude of platforms. Okay, if you've published a link, an article, you can share it on your X, on Facebook, on Instagram, and different platforms. The video that you've uploaded on YouTube, you can put it on Facebook, on X. You can even embed it in your article, as we shall be looking at later. So that aspect of multiplicity of content on different platforms is one key aspect. Then content can be accessed over time. Okay, unless you've deleted the post or something, something that you published in 2013, you can find it. I'm sure even when you go to Facebook and it shows you memories of 5 years ago, and you're in shock of how you even looked like. Because so that the fact that those platforms have that aspect of longevity of information is one key aspect. Then it also offers room for improvement and change. You know that some platforms you can always go and edit your post, and that's another aspect. So in a newspaper, once you publish a newspaper and it goes out to people, you have to rectify it, let's say, the next day. But for some of these platforms, you can edit your Instagram post. If it's an article, you can always edit it, even an X, if you're now like a paid for user. So that's another characteristics. Then it's also easy to target with users with new media. Okay, you're able to today with advertising, you're able to specify who you want this content to reach, even by location, by demographic, by interest. So if you go into like advanced marketing, digital marketing, where you're able to identify users you want to target with content, it's also very possible. Then multimedia, I think we've talked about this, how you're able to have your content in different forms, different multimedia formats, and publish together. Then mobile. Mobile is a very critical aspect today when it comes to content consumption and even reaching people. Most of the people today, you'll find that are getting information from their mobile. So how are you reaching people on their mobile? Is the content you're producing mobile friendly? Is it aligned for mobile consumption? We shall be, again, looking at further in the course how you can use, first of all, your mobile to publish information, but also how you can tailor your content to be easily accessed on mobile. Any questions regarding this before we go to the next slide? Or supplements? All right. So I want to get your observations when you look at this image here on the screen. What are your observations there from our discussions that we've been having, and even from the visual that is displayed there? What comes to your mind in terms of the old news consumer and the new news consumer? And I think I think the word news can even replace it with content, because today people are not necessarily news that people are consuming, it's generally content in general. So I want to get your observations from that image that you see on the screen. Yes, Moga?
Yes, it says that all consumers, to get news, they have to like compart in one place to get that information. They have to be like, you have to be in a living room, maybe you have to be in a pub. That's like the old consumers. Then while new consumers, they get anywhere, anytime, any place, because they have laptops, phones, smartwatches. Even they can spend their time using their digital watches to spend information. That's what I'm saying about right now. Like their news, they can get it anywhere, anytime, while the old consumers have to be in one place to get information.
Yes, very good observation, Moga. Yes, Christopher?
From what I see in the picture, it's that the old news consumers had to wait for the news. Let me say, like the way Africans watch news at 9, where they had to wait for those news. And the new news consumers, since it's digital and in real-time updates, anytime, anywhere, they can easily get news, they can easily access information. But the old news consumers had to wait for a news bulletin to be put on, and they watch it. And again, they will have to wait longer for in case there is an update or in case there is a correction to be made.
Thank you. Very true. Good observation again, Christopher. Yes, Damian?
I can see of this side of new consumers, where people now own hundreds of different media outlets, and the information is transferred across many people.
Yes, thank you, Damian. Any other observations? Yes, Catherine?
What I have observed, like in terms of time, new media is very fast compared to old traditional media. Old consumers would wait longer compared to the new consumers of media. Immediately something is published across new media channels, or something happens, even if it's like an accident involving an important person in a country, new media brings it live, like it's immediately live streamed, compared to old media where someone had to, people don't even know what's going on, but later on they're waiting for TV news across their TVs or newspapers to be updated.
Yes, good observation there. Today, with new media platforms, information, that aspect of immediacy clearly is very obvious. Things, as soon as something happens, you usually see it first on social media before you see it running on television. Yes, Fortunate.
Catherine has been able to say what I wanted, but also I wanted to say new media new news consumers are able to engage with the sources of the information. For example, they can share their views and feedback and all that through the comments, the likes and shares, unlike the old news consumers who just got the news, and it was upon you to go and internalize. There was no way. Okay, apart from today when you also share your views through Twitter and they'll read it on the news, those days those things were not there. You just listen and you go and take the news how you've taken it, whether it's true or false, that's it. But new media provides more and a wider range. You can get the same news from different platforms with different views and all that.
Okay, thank you, Fortunate. Then I see Vera here. Before Damian, you come in, Vera says, a new news consumer, they can get news and content easily and at any time and at anywhere they are, whereas the old consumer would have to wait for a specific time or get news or content. Yes. Sylvia says, old news consumer watch at the same time, while new media consumers prefer view different activities at the same time from different places. Yes. Grace, the old news consumers have to watch the news at a specific time, while the new news consumers can watch the news at their convenience, like they are not rushed. Yes, thank you. Let's have Damian and then Gertrude.
To all the news consumers, I think there is no competition between media institutions whereby the information is just disseminated without competition with the media institutions, way of which are new news consumers. I see competitions whereby media institutions results in better quality media output.
Not necessarily so, because even with traditional media platforms, there's still some competition when it comes to these TV stations. Of course, they can't report the same thing. So the quality of the reporting, even with traditional media, it still brings the aspect of competition, because otherwise there would be no competition in the media industry. That's why some people actually prefer maybe news from other stations. So the aspect of competition does not necessarily really here come out from the way you've explained it. It's not that every NTV publishes exactly the same thing. NBS, they can still find different unique ways of delivering that content. I hope we are together, Damian. Yes, Gertrude?
My observation here, like all the news consumer, these people, I think most of the people didn't have even the gadgets to use. Few people would receive the information, but here new news consumer, everyone is on social media, Facebook, Twitter. Like the news now is received at the right time, and is received by more people.
Yes, good observations there, Gertrude. Any other? Okay. All right, thank you for those observations. So I think Catherine has here something else to say. New media, people's opinions about the impact of content is revealed immediately, unlike traditional media, where people keep opinions to themselves. Sometimes they may, with traditional media, you can call in, maybe like on radio, but you can see it's not as immediate as you in real time putting a comment as the news is being streamed. If it's being streamed on YouTube, you can reply there immediately on maybe Facebook Live, Twitter. You're able to give real time. They share. They put a post on their social media, and you're able to put a comment, fact check the information there quickly. Thank you. Mariam, which answer are you saying is which answer? Yes, Mariam, which answer are you referring to? I think I already read your comment and I said it was okay. Mariam, please which answer are you referring to? Okay, then I'm seeing here Damian says all consumers relied on traditional media. Yes. So way back, you would literally all your source of news was from the radio, television, or the newspaper. Whereas today, you can get information from multitude of platforms. Okay, so someone to explain. So these are the different aspects that we have already looked at. So just want someone, any points here when it comes to active users in terms of new media. What do we mean? We've already been discussing some of this, so someone can quickly just share their perspective. Active users, what does this mean in terms of new media content consumption? What do we mean by active users? Someone is saying people using the internet. Yes, what do you mean by active users? Yes, Christopher.
To me, I think active users are the new news consumers who are always in contact or in touch with different social media platforms or different media platforms in general, just to get information or to source out information to put out there or just to get to know.
Okay, thank you. So active users, again, just with what you've said, today new media, new news consumers or new content consumers are active with the content. When you publish content, they're able to give feedback, they're able to fact check, so they're active, they share. So those different aspects is what we call active users, okay? New media users who are able to interact with the content, able to give feedback, likes and shares and all that. Then when we go to investigate or fact check, I want to quickly explain this. We've already been looking at it, but as you have it now, we had it in our slides. We want to quickly What about fact checking? Yes, Catherine.
Investigating or fact checking means that the user, according to new media, a user of a person who is able to use these different platforms and access them as well is able to fact check the information before they share it with other people.
Yeah, so the aspect of fact checking today, users can fact check information that has been shared by journalists or even media houses, but also it's important for, as a communication professionals, you're able to fact check any information before you share. Then the aspect of sharing, with new media, you're able to share information at a faster rate. You can retweet, share in different platforms, and it's able to reach people quickly. Then also the aspect of feedback. You know that today when you publish something, expect feedback, okay? And it's important, as when people give feedback, you're also able to continue the conversation, provide more context when people ask questions. How are you able to contribute based on that feedback? Then also engaging again, encircles all this of feedback, sharing, active users. Engagement is a very big component today of in terms of digital journalism. Okay, you need to sustain conversation. You need to engage people. That's why there are all these features on these different platforms of polls, spaces where you can go live. People need to keep engaged with content today in terms of new media. Any questions or supplements to this? Okay. So as we wind up, someone to read for us what we see on the screen here. Read for us the statement. I think I saw Catherine's hand up first. Yes, Catherine.
The ability to think online, mobile or digital, is the most important skill a media entity or journalist or communicator can acquire or develop today.
Yes, thinking online, thinking mobile. When you're publishing for online, you're publishing for the whole world. Okay, so it's important when you some of even the words that you're using, when you put UCU or things that you think that people are understood globally, yet they may be only making sense to you. So it's important even in the language that you're using, because when you publish something on the internet, it's going to be accessed globally. Okay, and even mobile, how are you reaching people on their mobile phones easily and quickly? Thank you. Damian, I saw your hand up. You can read for us the next. Yeah.
Okay, the role of media entities is to serve the community, and it is therefore our job to find out the most suitable media that will enable our audiences perceive our news and information better.
Yes, thank you. So I want to believe from the discussion we have had today, I hope it has set a good precedent and understanding of the way we are going to be publishing information, and keeping in mind how information is accessed today, the characteristics of the new news consumer today, what you need to do to reach people quickly on their mobile phones and even via the internet. Any questions or supplements from what we have covered today? Is this being recorded? Okay. Please ensure we upload these things on YouTube. I'm yet to see a link. We need to ensure that we have recordings for people who have not attended. Any questions, supplements? Yes, Damian?
Just a supplement somewhere where you have said the engagement, I may also say that likes and reaction is where users express their approvals or interests. Just like that.
Likes, all those are very important. How many people are liking your comments, and it's also another expression of engagement, of approval of your content. Yeah. Any other? Again, like I told you the other time, I have all these aspects well explained, even in detail in my book. Again, if you're interested, please feel free to text me so that I can share with you a copy at only 50,000, or there are very many concepts that you can in digital journalism communication that if you're really interested can help you put these things into perspective. So if there are no further questions or supplements, thank you for your discussions today, and I wish you a good day and weekend, and we meet on Tuesday next week.